All right, hey everyone, welcome to the Alexa channel. My name is Alex, and it's been a little while since I did a music review, so I just wanted to say that I'm going to be shooting these in a few different locations, and I just want you guys to let me know in the comments where you like the location the best. So if you don't like this one, don't worry, I'm going to be shooting this somewhere else next week. So once again, let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoy this review of Tyler the Creator's Igor. For those of you who don't know, Tyler the Creator is a rapper from California, possibly best known for fronting and being probably the main component of the most influential rap collective of the decade, Odd Future. Throughout his early career, Tyler the Creator really made a name for himself with his choppy beats, offensive lyrics, and everything just surrounding his persona as a controversial figure in rap scene due to his position in Odd Future. However, there was always something different about Tyler the Creator, to me at least. Throughout interviews and even shown in like some of the instrumentals on his earlier work, there was something below the immaturity, the offensive lyrics, the very rough production. Tyler always seemed to show an appreciation for old school and neo soul, and this really started to, I guess, show up in his music on his album Wolf, and it was explored further on his experimental album Cherry Bomb. Sure, Cherry Bomb has some of his most abrasive, immature, and experimental cuts to date, but songs like Find Your Wings show him approaching neo soul, or at least doing his first experiments at putting neo soul on an album. This was further explored, albeit still with a very hip hop edge, on his most well received album, the 2017's Flower Boy. Flower Boy, in my opinion, is easily one of the better albums of the decade, as it is just an impeccable flowed, catchy, and very fun West Coast hip hop album with some neo soul influences kind of, I guess, thrown in there. There's not a bad cut on it, despite the kind of way that it fades out at the end, and I still listen to it to this day. Also, Tyler's decision to come out of the closet through this album marked probably the biggest sea change a rapper has had in a long time in terms of their career arc. His very aggressive and offensive demeanor kind of melted away, which is evidenced through the album's full title, in a way, Scumfuck Flower Boy. But this is not a Flower Boy review, this is an Igor review. So let's cut to 2019, and Igor is out. Now, this is not the dramatic sea change in terms of personality that Flower Boy was, but what it is a dramatic sea change in the style of the music. Yes, this really is Tyler's neo soul record. He's been hinting at it for years. He's been popping it up on the occasional track and using those types of chords that you'd find in like a neo soul or old school soul record, and he'd apply them to hip hop. But here, this is a neo soul record. It's easily his shortest album to date, not quite reaching the 40-minute mark, and it also showcases Tyler at his most vulnerable and conceptually consistent. The album's concept is pretty simple. It is basically the stages of a relationship leading up to a breakup, and then the subsequent breakup, and then the variety of feelings that someone feels leading up to this breakup and after the breakup are basically showcased through each song. There is an argument to be made that it's not the most complex concept in the world, and I guess I would agree with that argument, but it is an effective concept. When I first listened to this album, though, I have to say that I was very disappointed. The opener IGOR'S theme kind of just felt like an elongated intro track, as did EARFQUAKE, the track after that. And that just kind of set the table for a very disappointing first listening experience where I just felt like there wasn't that much going on. All of the songs were underwritten, the production was kind of shaky, and I wasn't enjoying it. However, every time that I revisited the album after that, I began to pay less attention to Tyler's past and how many lyrics were on each song and how the structure of each song was. And I began to pay more attention to Tyler's guests, Tyler himself, the concept of each song, what was happening in each song, the structure of each song, not in the way of a rap song, but in more of a neo soul song. And I saw at that point that the album really did begin to grow on me. After about 4 listens, I basically fell head over heels for this album. And I can safely say that as of this review, I still am. I do have a hard time saying that this album is better than Flower Boy. In fact, I'm going to say it right here. This album is not better than Flower Boy, but it is great. It is Tyler's most mature, developed and well-produced album to date. And now that I can appreciate the songs after these first couple of listens that I had, the highlights on this thing are just all over the place. Take the previously mentioned opener, IGOR'S theme. The synthesizer on that thing combined with the drum loop is addicting. Every time that album kicks off and you get the followed by the drums kicking in, I'm ready to listen to the entire thing in one sitting. I don't even care. And that really speaks to the power that the synthesizers have over this entire album. There is such a focus on just amazing sounding synthesizers that I've really never heard in Tyler's discography before, or at least I've never heard it to this extent. Also, there's a lot more use of arpeggiators on this album that at first it kind of didn't sit well with me, but as I kind of saw the way that they would transition songs or work within songs, they really began to grow on me, and I just have to say that now I just love them. As I said though, this album isn't perfect or anything, and before I get into discussing some of like the best songs, I do want to get the negative stuff out of the way. There are a couple songs like I Don't Love You Anymore and Puppet that, while they aren't bad songs, they're in fact pretty okay songs. They definitely stick out like sore thumbs as some of the worst tracks on this album. Puppet in particular has kind of a strange melody to it that I really can't get into, and then a very strange and not very well produced groove. I'm not too huge on it, and while I guess it does grow on me and I do like the really weird and buried Kanye feature, I don't know. I mean, following up what is, spoiler alert, basically my favorite song on the album, A Boy Is a Gun, it just doesn't do the trick for me. It kind of ruins the flow of the album. And I can basically say the same thing about I Don't Love You Anymore. That hook of the I don't love you anymore, not a huge fan, but it's not bad. I'm not going to go out and say that either of these tracks are bad. They're not. I wouldn't even say that they're as bad as the closer of Flower Boy, even though I also do like that song. If we're going to be honest, I have minor nitpicks with most of the songs on this album, but most of them don't get in the way. However, there's songs like Gone Gone Thank You that, while it is definitely one of the best songs on the album, that groove just doesn't really do it for me. The way that the drums are programmed in this doesn't really add to the otherwise fantastic vocal melody, and I don't know. The album grew on me, as did this song. But the way that this groove functions, and I'm more talking about the first half of the song, the Gone Gone section, the way that the groove functions just, I don't know, it kind of kneecaps the way that the song flows. And while it is a great song, do not get me wrong, it's a great song, one of the best songs on the album, there's just something about it that I can't really get into. Also, the closer, Are We Still Friends? It's a great song. Once again, don't get me wrong, it's a very good song. But there is something kind of schmaltzy and cheesy, and I know that Tyler has played with the idea of cheese. I mean, just look at the way that this album was promoted, that wig, that whole the What's Good teaser. Yeah, I understand that there's a schmaltz factor to it. But this one doesn't really feel as intentional as the rest of the record, and it kind of leaves a sour ending to the album. And once again, it's not a bad song. But Tyler on this album, as with Flower Boy, doesn't really stick the landing, as I Don't Love You Anymore and Are We Still Friends are definitely not two of the better songs on the album. However, those are really my biggest complaints that I have about the album, and other than that, this album is great. As I mentioned earlier, the biggest highlight on here for me is A Boy Is a Gun. I mean, there's just so much to love about this track. The soul sample, the vocal melodies, the stuff that Tyler added instrumentally outside of the sample. And I mean, come on, his vocal hook of, "You so motherfucking dangerous, you so motherfucking dangerous." I mean, come on, you cannot beat that. I'm sorry, you cannot beat that. And I know I'm not focusing on the concept too much, but like I said, it's a very relatively simple concept. If you look at the lyrics for like 5 seconds, you'll understand what it's about, and you'll understand the arc of the relationship if you listen to the album. Also, I mentioned it a little bit, but What's Good is also a highlight. It was my favorite song on the first listen, but as songs like EARFQUAKE, IGOR'S Theme, and A Boy Is a Gun, as well as Gone Gone / Thank You, I know I complained about it earlier, but trust me, other than that small complaint I have about the groove, it's a great song. What's Good has kind of fallen behind those tracks for me, but don't get me wrong, I still love it, and it is basically, I love it just as much now as the first time I heard it. I mean, it goes hard. It's one of the biggest bangers on the album other than New Magic Wand, and there's just so much to love about it. It's probably the closest to an older school Tyler track we'll get, probably ever, And honestly, I'm okay with that because this song is great. And overall, I just like to say that this album is really, really good. Overall, I'm happy to say that even if this isn't Tyler the Creator's best album, it is without a doubt and far and away his second best album to date. And it's also one of the best albums of the year so far as of June 2019. It seems that by dramatically changing his sound, Tyler the Creator is finally acting like himself, is making the music that he truly wants to make, and in the process has made his most mature album to date. And it's for those reasons that I have no problem giving this album a mid to high 8 out of 10. And that's going to do it, everyone, for the Tyler the Creator review. So make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the things that one does on YouTube. I hope you have a great rest of your day / night, whatever time it is there. And let me know what you want me to review next in the comments. And have a good one.